Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles. I'm going to talk about what is going on with DC Comics in regards to the Warner Brothers sale. There's a rumor now that James Gunn may not be staying if Warner Brothers gets sold. Now, we've been talking about this for the last week or so. Of course, we know that Warner Brothers is officially up for sale. They've got some other bidders. But it looks like James Gunn's future at DC is in doubt if they do get purchased by most likely the Ellisons over at Skydance and Paramount. We know that they are merciless in their cost cutting, and also their political leanings, I think, are going to chase some people off. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. We're going to look into this. Again, these are all rumors and speculations, so we need to disclaim that before we do. But yeah, stick around. So before you get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. I have this pulled up, news.clownfishtv.com. Go out, sign up for notifications when we post new videos and podcasts. Thank you very much for the support. So if you remember, this was about a week ago. I think Cosmic Book News had a rumor, I need to clarify that, a rumor that James Gunn would probably step down or get pushed out if Warner Brothers went up for sale. And people said, well, Warner Brothers isn't going to go up for sale. That's ridiculous. Why would they do that? And it turns out that, yeah, Warner Brothers is officially up for sale, and it looks like they've got some other potential buyers, including Netflix, which is wild. But I think before it's all said and done, it is going to wind up with the Ellisons, Skydance, Paramount, Warner Brothers will all be one thing. I don't know what that means for DC Comics. I don't know what that means for Cartoon Network. I think CNN can kiss his ass goodbye, or it's gonna get gutted, or they'll put Barry Weiss in charge of that too. Wouldn't that be wild? Put Barry Weiss in charge of CNN. I could totally see them merging all the news divisions together, because that's one holdup, I guess, with these mergers is how many news outlets you have. Well, if you take CBS News and you take CNN and you stick them together, then that's one news outlet, right? And then you put Barry Weiss in charge of all that. I'm sure that's going to go over really, really well with everybody over there right now. But anyway, let's talk about the nerd stuff, talk about the DCU, which is barely off the ground, and it might kind of albatross right out of the gate here if James Gunn leaves. Right now, we reviewed the Superman movie. I know people have different opinions about it. Some people really loved it. That's fantastic. I'm happy for you. If you love the Superman movie, that's great. We said that Geeky and I both felt the same way, that it had a great cast. I like the tone overall, mostly. That was a lighter feeling Superman movie. I did not like that it had like 50,000 characters shoved into it, and Superman felt like a side character in his own movie. And I sure as hell didn't like drunk ass Supergirl at the end. But that's my personal opinion. I think everybody in the movie was pretty good, though. I'd like to see more of them, but I don't know how much more of them we're gonna get. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. So this is again, coming from Cosmic Book News, and I know people rag on Cosmic Book News because Matt McGloin is right-wing and he covers certain topics that tend to be a little more political, but he has been correct in the past, right? He has been correct in the past. And this one seems to confirm that Gunn almost let it slip, that he might not stick around if they get sold. Right? James Gunn questions his DCU future amid Warner Brothers Discovery sales scoop confirmed. And new interview with YouTuber Boba Talks. How come Boba? How big of a channel is he? How come he can get James Gunn? Can I get James Gunn? I talked to James Gunn. Boba Talks, the Superman director, hinted that while he has long-term plans for the DCU, it may not be him leading them. Comments that arrive as Warner Brothers Discovery faces an imminent sale. We'll talk about who else is going to throw their hat into the ring. So apparently he almost slipped. He said, he cut himself off. It's almost like he's trying to say, if I stay. During the conversation, Boba Talks asked Gunn how far his DCU story arcs extend beyond Man of Tomorrow, which he films next year. The same year his contract expires. Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to blow that up. Emphasize that. The same year his contract expires. Boba Talk says, how far do the arcs go? He says, they definitely go significantly further than Man of Tomorrow. Well, let's look at the clip.
Absolutely. So One thing I've been really curious about is you've referenced things like Peacemaker Season 2 and Lanterns setting up different threads and arcs. How far do these arcs go? Like, do they culminate in Man of Tomorrow, or can we expect them to go further than that?
Yes, they definitely go.
He's either saying if I say or if I stay. Let's run this back. We'll listen to it again.
They definitely go significantly
Than that.
Yes, they definitely go significantly further than Man of Tomorrow.
Okay.
So now, whether or not that'll be me that's able to fulfill that promise depends on a lot of things in life.
Yeah, this feels like he's kind of tipping his hand. I mean, look, I could be reading more into it than I should, but this sounds like a man who has a contingency plan. And I think if Warner Brothers gets sold, he's probably going to bail. I think a lot of people are going to bail. And, part of it's business, because usually when a company gets sold, things change. But I think a lot of these folks in Hollywood and in the media, they're looking at how the Ellisons have handled Paramount, and they're looking at the gutting that is happening at Paramount. And Zaslav was bad enough, but you throw the Ellisons into it, it's going to be a bloodbath over there. Absolutely. And I think some people are going to get out while they can. And I could see James Gunn, bouncing over to Netflix or something like that. Well, unless Netflix buys Warner Brothers. But yeah, definitely, I think it depends on who winds up with Warner Brothers as to whether or not he's going to stay, and a lot of other people are going to stay, and what that looks like. Just an opinion. We'll see. All right, so he said the comments come as reports indicate Warner Brothers Discovery is on the verge of being sold with Paramount Global and Skydance among the potential buyers. Okay, so here's the update on that. Warner Brothers is confirming multiple bidders as stock soars. Paramount still the front runner. Netflix scoffs. So apparently Netflix not interested. We've heard Netflix, we've heard Comcast, and I think they're trying to create a bidding war, or at least inflate the stock price. This is a very common tactic, right? This is a very common tactic. This is kind of what happened with Disney and Fox, where Comcast basically ran the bid up, but I don't think Comcast had any real interest in Fox. They just wanted Disney to pay through the nose for it. And Zaslav is going to try to get the maximum amount of money out of it he can, because right now I think, he feels Skydance is lowballing them. I can't imagine there are many other qualified buyers in this market, right? Like everybody else blew themselves up chasing streaming. And Netflix, I don't know if they want to be a studio. They've bought studios before, but Warner Brothers would be an amazing asset for them, but I don't know if they want the hassle. So they said that what they're looking to sell off includes the prized Warner Brothers studio and HBO Max streaming arm, which will be separated into its own entity in 2026. Unless, of course, it winds up being Netflix, and then they could just roll HBO into Netflix. One half focused on streaming and studios, and the other on legacy TV networks Discovery. Okay, the move comes after Skydance's David Ellison made an initial bid, reportedly around $20 a share, which Warner Brothers rejected. But now with multiple parties circling, including Paramount, Comcast, and Netflix, the price is rising and the competition is heating up. So Warner Brothers has rejected Paramount's second bid. Yeah, they're just trying to get the most out of it that they can. So that means that Paramount's very interested. So on Tuesday, Warner Brothers Discovery's board of directors issued a formal statement confirming that it has initiated a review of strategic alternatives after receiving interest for both the entire company and individual parts, specifically the Warner Brothers studio. It's no surprise that the significant value of our portfolio is receiving increased recognition by others in the market. So they want to get the full value of Warner Brothers assets, right? In other words, exactly what I said was coming is now happening. Yes. Actually, again, hat tip to McGloin. He has been correct. I mean, not everybody is 100% correct 100% of the time, right? But with movie rumors, he's been correct in the past, and I think it's kind of funny. People will discredit the source even if their track record is pretty good. Hashtag Clownfish was right. On multiple occasions, we've been right, and just because people don't like us, or for whatever reason they don't like us, they don't like what we're saying, they don't like our opinions on things, then they discredit, the the leaks or the, inside baseball or whatever it is. And again, not everybody's right all the time, but this one sounds like it has a ring of truth to it, because again, Gunn's contract is up. I can imagine, unless there are massive amounts of money being thrown at him, I can imagine that he is not going to want to stick around with the Ellisons and watch Warner Brothers get micromanaged and disemboweled like Paramount is getting right now. And beyond that, I don't know if they're going to throw a bunch of money at him, because, you can like the Superman movie, but the truth is the Superman movie didn't make a lot of money. It really didn't. It did not do what Warner Brothers expected it to do. Instead, other movies they put out overperformed, like, Minecraft and Weapons and some other kind of oddball movies, quirky movies. They overperformed. Superman was supposed to be like an $800 to $1 billion movie, and those days are over. So they might be looking at him like, DC is going to be relegated to television or streaming because it's not making money at the box office anymore. And the last several DC movies have been duds at the box office. I mean, Superman wasn't a flop, but it definitely didn't perform up to expectations. So they might not renew his contract. They might not give him or if they do, they might want to lowball James Gunn and be like, yeah, we're not going to give you the amount of money that you're looking for. I don't know. And then I have to wonder long-term, like, what happens to DC just as a brand? Because again, the Ellisons are infamous for cost cutting. I feel like the outsourcing of Marvel or DC or both is inevitable at this point. It doesn't make a lot of sense for a comic book publisher to have a separate division and all, in-house, and all these people working on these books, and most of these books underperform. Some of them do okay. Some of them become movies. Some of them don't. But you got, staffs and print production, and all the comics wind up at Ollie's anyway. I don't know. I have to wonder at what point does the rights holder to the DC characters say, you know what, these characters are valuable, but we'd rather have somebody pay us. Because I know for 100% fact that Marvel was looking into doing that a few years ago. And I was actually told about it like 2 or 3 years before it happened. That they were looking at outsourcing the Marvel superheroes to a third party to just, take over comic production and license them out instead of having an in-house, bullpen publisher, because it's very expensive and the people were causing them all kinds of PR headaches. And they tried it with IDW and it failed miserably. So I think if it had been somebody else, I think even Boom or something, I think it probably would have been better than IDW. But because IDW flopped, because they already had a pre-existing relationship with Disney, and Disney wasn't going to go to Boom because Boom fucked up Disney. That's a whole nother thing. But because that flopped, I think they kind of said, I guess we're stuck with it. We're stuck with publishing comic books for a while. But there is going to come a day very, very, very soon when either Marvel or DC blinks, and once one blinks, the other one will too. And they'll be like, it's not worth publishing pamphlet comics anymore. It just isn't. Or if somebody wants to take a chance doing that, they can do it themselves, especially with Diamond imploding. Like, now is the perfect time to just get the hell out of it and be like, yeah, we can't even, it's just like the comic shops are dwindling, and even if it's making a profit, it's not making enough profit. Right. And that's how these businesses think. People don't think like a corporation. They think like a mom and pop, or they think like an individual. Like, yeah, you can have something that's profitable. It doesn't mean it's the best use of your resources. It doesn't mean that you get the best return on investment. Disney has pulled the plug on many, many profitable endeavors in the past, right? They're profitable. They just weren't profitable enough. They could be like, hey, we spend $10 million and we make $11 million, or we spend $10 million and we make $100 million. Take your pick. And, answering to shareholders, if you tell them we spent $10 million and we made $1 million, but if we spent the same money elsewhere, we would have made, $90 million in profit, they're gonna be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why didn't you take the, well, it's art. And we wanted to make sure that, we were producing art because it makes people feel that they don't give a shit. They're just gonna be like, maximize profit, right? And I think maximizing profit, it might be that the DCU gets gone or gets reimagined again. I'm kind of getting tired of all the reboots, but there we go. So I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We will talk later. For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.